Hello all, welcome back to Shaving with Peg Leg. Tonight, Wednesday night, gonna do a head shave. We're using the 5-bladed monster from Q-Shave, their cartridge razor. It's not a bad razor. We're using Noxzema and the yellow tuber. Shave cream, good stuff. Got some in my bowl, and you see this bowl? This is just a regular bowl out of my kitchen. Salad, soup, cereal, whatever you want to use it for. That's what this is. I was watching a video today and the guy was saying, oh, you need to get a bowl with ridges or bumps or something to agitate the soap. Well, you guys have seen me use the stainless steel bowl. It's up on the top shelf up there. You can't see right now. That's smooth on the inside. And my oxhorn bowl, which is smooth on the inside. And this is definitely smooth. So we're going to show that you don't need a bowl with bumps and humps and jumps. I hope I got enough water in this brush. I put it in a full cup of water, and the cup's got about, this cup was up to here with water, like I usually do with this 30 millimeter Badger brush. It's got this much in it now. It's down to the top of my finger right there is where it's down to. Yeah. So I'm hoping I got enough water in this brush. If not, I got some water in the cup and I got my spray bottle. Here we go. We're going to just show that you don't need a big agitating bowl to get a good lather. Now this Noxzema does lather easily, but you could do this with any soap, and I may do it again with another soap at another point. I'm gonna put a little more water in here because this brush soaked it all up, and now it's eating the soap. But you can see, you don't need the big bumps and jumps and humps in the bowl. You can do it with a smooth bowl. Of course, it is easier with a cream. I should have used a harder soap, but I wanted to use the Noxzema again for a little while, so I broke it out. But you can do this with any soap, and you guys know that. It doesn't take much, and you don't need all that crap. You can just go grab your kid's favorite cereal bowl and mix your soap in it, and the whole time you're mixing the soap in it, you can be smiling thinking, this is what you get, you little bastard, for standing over me at 4 o'clock in the morning with your nose running, staring at me while I'm sleeping, and when I wake up you scare the shit out of me. Yeah, that's this is what you get. If you've ever had kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They all do it. All 3 of mine did it. Without ever hearing a story of their sibling doing it, they did it. They will stand there staring at you while you're sleeping, snot running out of their nose. And they just stand there at the edge of your bed, staring at you. And you wake up and you're like, what the hell? You don't need to watch a horror movie, just have a child. It's still too thick. I gotta add a lot more water to this. There, maybe that'll work. I don't want it soap too thick because with the 5-bladed monster, the soap will get wedged in between the blades and it won't want to release. And yes, my door is open again. It has been hot in this house all flipping day. I've got windows open, fans going, and it's still like a furnace in here for some reason. Maybe it was that bowl of chili I had for lunch. Maybe I'm keeping the place warmed up. I don't know. Can you see that? No ridges, no bumps, no humps, no jumps in that bowl. It's just a smooth china bowl. You don't need crap. Go buy this bowl over here for $7 or this one over here for $35. Why? Go grab one out of the cabinet that your kid uses for cereal and smile the whole time you're whipping it up. I'm using your bowl, you little bastard. Anyways, I got to do something here. My shit moved. Believe me, it moved twice today. Anyways, okay. My notes don't want to stand up. My fan's not even blowing on them. They just don't want to stand up right. All right, that should work. Okay. November 30th, 1900. What happened? Back in the wonderful year of 1900. And this is a 30 millimeter Maseto brush. It's an eBay find. It's a good brush. It's all Badger. Maybe my dog will walk by the door and you'll be able to see her. Callie. She won't come in the bathroom. She absolutely will not come in the bathroom. She doesn't drink out of toilets. She doesn't sniff the garbage. She's a pretty good dog. And I can keep food in her dish all the time. A lot of dogs will eat and eat and eat until all the food is gone, and then they want more. And if you keep giving them more, they will eat until they throw up. Not her. You can keep her food dish full all the time. She goes and gets what she needs at the time. She eats until she's full, and then she walks away. She's a good dog. That's my puppy. She's loud. I yell at her for it sometimes. Just, it's not so much me. I really could care less if she barks, but the neighbors, some of the neighbors give me funny looks because she barks so loud. And the fact that you're only supposed to have a 45-pound dog in here is the top limit, and she's 65. But she's registered as an emotional support animal, which she was for a while, because early on in my diabetic career, I'd have seizures at night. My blood sugar would drop out the bottom and I'd have seizures. And she would actually wake me up before that happened. And when she woke me up in the middle of the night, like that lick in my face, and I knew something was wrong. And I told you guys the story before. I used to have a bag of Hershey's Kisses on my headboard. When she did that, I'd eat a couple of those to bring my sugar back up. But she hasn't had to do that in a while, but that's what she used to do. So she's a registered support animal. And she was never trained to do that. She just, dogs know. And they just do it sometimes. Then there's other times I wake up and I'm laying there like this and say, what's that smell? Why does it smell like she's shit in the room? And I open my eyes and she's laying right up against the other pillow on the other side of my bed with her ass right towards me, and my nose is this far out of her asshole with her little nub sticking up, not covering her butt. You know, so it's like, why does it smell like she's shit in my room? You open your eyes and there's her butthole right in your face. Like having a kid standing over you looking at you when you're sleeping. I'm flinging soap everywhere. Alright, November 30th, 1900. A German engineer. It does not say his name. I cannot find his name anywhere. I'd have to search the patent records for it, and guess what? I ain't doing it. We'll go with a German engineer. Patents the first patent on it. Not the first, but it's the first patent on a front-wheel drive car. And you're like, what? Front wheel drive? That's something recent within the last 30 years or so. That's not that old. Au contraire, mon frere. That's like electric cars. You know, the first electric cars were like 1839, 1845. Those were the first electric cars, the first battery-powered cars. The reason electric cars fell out of favor is because the batteries were so heavy. They were lead core batteries. They were the old style lead core batteries. And they were so heavy and they didn't hold a lot of juice. And they took a lot to recharge them. And not everybody had the way to recharge it. Not everybody had electrical power running to their house or in their town yet. So it was very hard to recharge them. But if you could recharge it, they were out there. Around my ears. Because the cartridge does not get in close enough around my ears. So anyways, the first patent for a front wheel drive car, not the first front wheel drive car, but the first patent, 1900. Now, I had to put my glasses on for a second. The first known front wheel drive vehicle of any kind was executed by a Frenchman, Nicolas Cugnot, C-U-G-N-O-T. Cugnot, whatever. The French dude, Nicolas. Built a three-wheel steam-powered carriage in 1769. Before the American Revolutionary War, a guy in France built a steam-powered three-carriage vehicle. And here's a model of it. A working model, modern day working model of that vehicle. And it was 100 years, it took 100 years later to get the first gasoline-powered cars in 1874, I believe it was. And that was the Lapape, L-A-P-A-P-E, another French. And then in 1877, Selden, S-E-L-D-E-N, designed by George B. Selden. It was only in concept because he never built one until 1902. Now remember, this is 1877. He didn't build it till 1902, but his concept was in 1877. Is considered one of the earliest front-wheel drive cars in the U.S., featuring a gasoline-mounted engine on the front axle that drove the wheels through spur gears. The most prolific maker of front-wheel drive cars in the United States in the early days, like in 1904, what's his first name? Walter? Yeah, Walter Christie. He developed front-wheel drive cars, and he was one of the most prolific ones in the early days. Now, we'll skip ahead a little bit to like 1919. Henry Ford was working with, I don't know if I printed this part out, I just remember reading it. Was it Christie? I think it was Christie. Henry Ford was working with another manufacturer of front-wheel drive cars to make a front-wheel drive car, but it was too expensive and too complicated to do on the cheap. And at that time, the Model T was out and just killing everybody in auto sales because it was the first car built that anybody could own, could afford to buy. Because prior to that, cars were expensive and only the elite, the rich, could have them. But Ford figured out a way to build them cheap and make them cheap that everybody could afford one. Now, we went through that story before. I've covered that one before. But he also looked at making a front-wheel drive car. But Christie gained his popularity to sell his cars, which he did not sell many, because he wanted to make his as taxi cabs, and he didn't get many sales. But he gained his reputation through racing his cars. All right, I want you to listen to this. This is important, or actually it's neat. It's kind of cool to think about. All right, Christie directed the Action Motor Car Company. That was his company to build taxis. He devised V4 and V8 engines for his cars of his own design. And his cars had 70% of their weight over the front axle because that's where the engine was, over the front axle. He claimed, I told you, he gained his popularity by racing his cars. He claimed the dirt track mile record in 1907, having achieved 69.2 miles per hour. In 1907, he was going 69.2 miles per hour on a dirt racetrack. And then on the newly bricked surface of Indianapolis, because remember, Indianapolis was originally bricks. It was dirt, then bricks. They put down bricks before it got paved. And that's why at the finish line, at Indy, in the start line, it's still that strip of bricks. He set a record at 97.6 miles per hour on the brick surface. And then he went on to Tacoma, Washington board track in 1915. All right, we're talking 8 years later after this. In 8 years, he went from going 97 miles an hour, or 69 miles an hour and 97 miles an hour, to, in 1915, averaging on the Tacoma, Washington board track, wooden track, it was an oval, 113.9 miles per hour in 1915. That's hella fast back then, guys. I don't even know if planes were going that fast. I think the planes were like in the 60s, 70s, maybe 80s. And he also set a new lap record at Indy in 1916 at 102.6 miles per hour in his front-wheel drive design cars. All those track records and all those accolades he got driving front-wheel drive cars. And his taxi cab business never really took off, building cars for taxis. All right, and I'll put a picture of his racer from 1907 up here. That's his 1907 racer. Neat, huh? What's neat is the first one from 1769 with a top speed of 3.5 miles per hour. You can walk faster than that, guys. You just don't have the pulling power that did. It was meant for pulling wagons instead of using horses. Used wood to heat and water. You had to build the fire to heat the water to build steam. And the steam engine, I don't know if you know how a steam engine works. The steam comes in through the top, pushes down on the piston, and at the bottom of the cylinder where the piston is, there's a vent hole. When the piston opens that hole up, passes by it, opens that hole up, the steam vents out. And when that steam vents out, the piston on the other side, you see those that piston right over the wheel, and it's got the rod, like connecting rod, to the wheel to pump the wheel up and down, to like the old trains you see in the westerns, the trains going like the piston going like that. Same thing with that. And when it goes down, when the other piston builds pressure, it pushes down and pushes this one up because they're on a crankshaft. And when it hits the release, it hits the vent hole, the steam vents out, there's no pressure, this one's built up pressure and can push down and push the other one up. And that's your engineering lesson for the day, class. All right, against the grain. But yeah, 1769 steam engines. Which, come on now, think about it. That was before the Revolutionary War. That was a long time ago. And it was front-wheel drive. But like I said, some of your first cars were electric cars. They were battery cars. And some of them were front-wheel drive also. But front-wheel drive is not something new. It's been around for centuries. Well, for a century and a half at least. You know? A lot of the stuff that people think, oh, that's new, front-wheel drive, that's new, like when it came out, and there was a Cadillac, Eldorado model that had a front-wheel drive. It's like a 402 cubic inch or 502 cubic inch with a front-wheel drive. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one. I have. But it was like a 77 model. It was front-wheel drive. But it's been around a long, long time. And what killed front-wheel drive, this stuff is slick. I got slickness all over my head. I'm just going to give it a little more pressure here. Get my rough areas, my tough spots. What killed front-wheel drive is it was more complicated. It cost more to make the parts. It cost more to build the cars. And it was harder to build the cars with a front-wheel drive than rear-wheel drive. So any manufacturer will tell you cheap is better. So that's what they went with. They went with rear-wheel drive, which was cheaper. Because with the front-wheel drive, you got to remember, you got to figure out how to turn the wheels with power like this, and you also have to figure out how to turn them like this. They had the U-joints. They knew how to do it. They had the CV joints. They knew how to do it. It was just more expensive to do it that way than it was to make a rear-wheel drive car. It still is. The biggest reason manufacturers use front-wheel drive today is to make the cars smaller. It's not that it's cheaper. They're trying to make them smaller to get better gas mileage. Use less material overall on building the car because it is shorter, it's smaller. That's good. I don't need Allen block when I use a cartridge like that. Just using witch hazel. They're gonna smell like a monkey's ass. That's a lot, but I like the smell of monkey's ass. The hell, I smell dog ass all the time. She does that to me at least twice a month. Lays up there along the other pillows and put it down. Makes me sniff her ass. Freaking dog. All right. And the man also made his own V4s and V8s, and that first car you can see is a V4. All right, guys, I appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed the lesson today. I like doing the history stories. I always try to find the odd story if I can, because I think it's more interesting than the common, well-known stuff that I could talk about, and other people do talk about. But anyways, I appreciate you being here. Don't forget the affiliate link. We're starting for a new card, and I will do a drawing later after I finish this video. I'm going to go do the video for the drawing for the $25 card for last month or whatever that we just finished up. We're doing another drawing for another Razor Company card. So if you use my affiliate link, I'll get $25 gift card when it hits $25 and give it back to you guys, since you're the ones that actually bought it. All right, appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the links to the 4 channels I put in the description box, and sub to those guys. Appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you being here. Love you all. Thank you very much. Now for the babbling fat guy in the camera. You're in the chair next. I'm out of here. And happy shaves out there, guys.